It seems as if every generation has an event or a defining moment where everyone remembers exactly where they were when they heard of a particular event. For the World War II generation in the United States, it was clearly December 7th, 1941. That generation remembers exactly where they were when they heard that the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor and ultimately led to the United States' entry into World War II. For our generation, it's clearly September 11th, 2001. Everybody remembers exactly where they were when they heard that the Trade Center was attacked. I happened to work for a company that was the largest employer in the World Trade Center at the time. I literally watched the towers come down right before my eyes, as did many New Yorkers. The next day, I was back at work. Believe it or not, we had a number of our personnel had relocated to disaster recovery centers. And I remember a member of my staff actually got an email in that I bet a lot of you may have even received. It was an email that was a quote from Nostradamus. Let me give you that quote. "In the city of God there will be a great thunder, two brothers torn apart by chaos. While the fortress endures, the great leader will succumb, and the third big war will begin when the big city is burning on the 11th day of the 9th month. Two metal birds would crash into two tall statues in the new city, and the world will soon end thereafter." Nostradamus. That email raced around my office like wildfire. And I remember one of my staff members actually showed me the email and said, "Can you believe Nostradamus actually predicted this?" And I looked at the quote, and underneath the quote it said Nostradamus, and there was a date. It actually gave the date of 1654. Well, I started to look around on the internet to see when Nostradamus had died, and sure enough, he had died almost 100 years earlier. He died in 1566. This is a classic spoof email, an urban legend. In fact, within a few hours, it was already up on the Snoop's website and the Urban Legends website. See, for true prophecy to occur, you must be outside of the confines of time. One of the most famous psychics in the previous century was a woman by the name of Jean Dixon. Jean Dixon, supposedly, she's attributed with having predicted the assassination of John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. At least that's what's said about her now. The fact is, at the time, she didn't predict that John F. Kennedy would be killed in Dallas, Texas. What she predicted, back before the 1960 presidential election, was that the person who won the presidency in 1960 would die in office. That's very different from saying someone's going to be assassinated, let alone be assassinated in Dallas, Texas. The fact is, did she make a good guess? Well, to be honest, she had the odds on her side. You know that 7 of the 10 previous presidents had either died in office or had come down with an illness that ultimately led to their death. She was just making a good guess with the odds on her side. For true prophecy to occur, you must necessarily be outside of the confines of our time, not be bound by time. The Bible is a book that claims its authorship to be outside of our universe. The Bible is a book who claims that its author is not bound by the laws of time. The Bible is a book that claims its author is God himself. And the way that the Bible proves that its author is God is through prophecy. In this section of the website, we'll look at predictive prophecy that shows up in the Bible. And it's not just guesses. It's prophecy that's given dozens of years ahead of time with exacting detail. In some cases, hundreds of years ahead of time. And in other cases, even thousands of years ahead of time. And the Bible shows that its authorship is, in fact, outside of our time universe. So in this section of the site, you'll see the wealth of evidence to show that the Bible is, in fact, that, a book whose author is outside of the bounds of time.